Hello, I'm Lorraine Jekyls, and welcome to the Free Insights podcast, where we explore the intersection between all things brand, marketing, and insurance. In this first series, we'll be taking a deep dive into the insurance sector's talent crisis. I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello and welcome to another episode of Free Insights. I'm delighted to be joined today by a guest who has had an incredible, illustrious career in insurance spanning more than 4 decades, and who also has an interesting perspective from an international side on the insurance industry and the talent issue that we're facing at the moment. Being a CIAB board member, co-chair of the Lloyd's North American Broker Academy Working Group, a member of the Lloyd's North American Advisory Council, and who is now chairman of Client Market Development for Miller Insurance. Welcome, John Eltham.
Lorraine, thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
I'll try and live up to the illustrious piece as we go along. Yeah.
Well, let's just start by hearing a little bit more about you and your journey into insurance.
Okay, so I started April 1st, 4 decades ago, still trying to work out where the joke falls, but it's been a tremendous experience throughout the career. I did not do university. So in terms of the next gen and education piece and when can people enter, I've had a particular, I've come in at low level and built all the way through. So hopefully that adds to the perspective in terms of what we're going to discuss. I was sports mad. We were the Great London School soccer champions, but everyone other than the goalkeeper and the centre forward in the first 11 failed their exams. Okay. So it was go get a job. And I was encouraged by my dad to do that. I had some friends who had, by chance, started in the insurance industry. They seemed to be having fun, so I explored. Started with a marine broker, which is a brilliant foundation because it's so dynamic. Lots of things going on. You're touching the world. Specialise in Filipino and Greek tonnage. Progressed from there, joined a startup firm. That startup firm, I then got involved with South African business, political risks. There were some brilliant people there. A guy called Robert Chase was a great mentor, visionary. And we put together brand new products. We war on land insurance, trade disruption insurance, 007 secret agent, terrorism coverage. Wow. We put all those things together and you could just build things and you still can. From there, progressed, joined one of the larger firms, went to Aon. And as that continued to grow, I wanted to get back to real client engagement. And so joined Miller 27 years ago.
And which is where you are now.
That's where I am now.
Yeah.
And Miller now, this is year 1, 2, 3 for us, 123 years we've been around. 4 billion of premium, 1,100 people, and we're in a dozen countries. London headquartered.
So a pretty good organisation to work for.
It's very dynamic, very dynamic.
And how do you keep that going with growing at such a pace? How do you maintain the retention and the succession planning?
So if I take the succession planning first, the succession piece is actually built into the structure of the business. We have regular, what we call PDR, personal development reviews. And part of that, as people are more senior, succession is always built into it. So there is succession planning. We look across the business, the demographics, what stage in career people are at, and we try to plan for the future. So that's actually sort of inherent. Yeah. The retention piece, we survey, we look at stats in terms of, is there some churn? Some churn's not bad. Yeah. But the growth that we've been experiencing actually brings other additional pieces to it. So the opportunities within the firm, and this adds to the retention piece. If you're static, then it's just looking, okay, can I get the next person? Yeah. Wait for them to leave, move on, something to happen. But we're doing this. So there are opportunities all over the place. And we try to make sure that people understand what those opportunities are. And to be perfectly honest, we need people stepping up because we've got to pass it on. Absolutely. So there's just a natural energy and rhythm and cadence. And we're bringing new people in. They bring fresh blood, new ideas. So it's just constant innovation and change. But coming back to the very sort of the succession piece, our culture is one of collaboration, and we spend an awful lot of time on that. And we do staff surveys. The surveys tell us that it's the culture which is still at the very core of the business. So that goes a long way to that retention, but also put it in that dynamic environment. People can see a future, but it's where they want to be. But they contribute, and they are the culture. And it's all about clients and people.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the things. Obviously, we specialise in brands, and the brand is really comes from the people and the culture. But thinking about as you're growing and the changing environment that you work on with things like technology, how are you keeping pace and making sure that that's filtered into the thinking around the growth?
Okay, so technology is a challenge for everyone. It depends on how you approach that. So we try to embrace, but with an eye on we've got to get the basics right. Yeah. There are lots of shiny things out there. We've got some fantastic deployment on the technology side. I've mentioned marine. Our heritage was marine. We're in terms of blue water tonnage, navigating the world, we touch 95% of it. And some of the technology we have supports the ship owners, so they don't even have to tell us where they're trading, what they're doing. We can track all of that. The underwriters love it. Better terms for the client, incredible efficiency. So deploying, we can do it, but it's getting the basics right. So we've got a very large information technology team. The COO is directly lined up with that, and it's engagement with the business. So we break it down and parcel it out. So different parts of the business can engage at different levels. This would be a good improvement for us. That can get done. And then it comes all the way up, cascades up to strategic investment. Amazing. If that answers your question.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's one of the challenges that every business is facing, and bringing in new talent and existing talent, adapting to the technological advancements is something that
it is. But on this subject, it's also one of the things that has caused some of the challenges in terms of bringing people into the industry. This used to be very paper heavy, paper driven, certainly in London.
Carrying the giant files.
Files. But what that did was it meant that the pyramid was very broad at the base because you needed lots of people just to do basic things. Technology has chopped the corners off the pyramid, and it's reduced the number of people coming into the industry. So now with the talent that we have, we've got to really nurture and bring them through.
So thinking about the next generation of talent coming into the industry, what are you guys doing over at Miller?
That is a great question. There are many different things we're doing, different levels. We have a graduate program, we have an apprenticeship program, and we also do taster days. One of the things about the industry, once people are in, they tend not to leave because it's all about people, a lot of fun, very dynamic. And you've got to keep pace with the world as it changes. But to actually bring them in the first place, from a LinkedIn website, digital, we're forever putting things out in terms of what's going on in the industry, people joining, and some risks we cover are quite interesting. So we put those out there as well. I think unfortunately, insurance has become a bit of an unfortunate label.
Yes.
But this is really the industry of risk, and risk is everywhere. So in terms of actually representing what is it we do, we help the world turn, and we help it turn better. So Ukraine, shipments of the grain, we're involved with that. If you look at, we were in Marrakesh recently, WBN conference. There is a brilliant presentation on using parametrics for the earthquake. This is at social state level where our industry is helping an entire nation get back on its feet. The Caribbean at the moment, there are similar things in place there. So it isn't just commerce, it's the social contribution that we make. So some of that, we do engage with the starters, and we like to learn, and okay, what is it that really excites you? Yeah. And some of this, in terms of purpose, is very, very important, as it should be. We're very aware globally that, so for example, trying to bring people to London and educate them about Lloyd's, coming to London is still something that people aspire to. By offering exchange programs, so we send our people off overseas as well, they get to know the clients. Yeah. This becomes a carrot or a reward that actually gets built into some of our clients, into their approach to bringing people to the industry. You come and work here, there is the opportunity to go and do this type of thing. So it's just continual outreach and working with clients, sometimes competitors. Mm-hmm. Why not? Yeah. This is an industry issue. Yeah. So let's get on with it.
It's brilliant. And why do you have a graduate program and an apprenticeship program?
Okay, so the graduate program we had running for a long period of time. Mm-hmm. When COVID came along, it sort of put the brakes on lots of things, mm-hmm. but it also gave us an opportunity to take a step back. The apprenticeship program appeals to people that, I mean, I've referenced myself. Mm-hmm. I actually played too much football, didn't study enough, and also did a lot of athletics and stuff mm-hmm. like that. But I didn't want to go to university. Yeah. It just didn't appeal. Mm-hmm. So in a funny sort of way, that worked really well for me. Yeah. And there are lots of people now who look at university. That's 3 years. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of debt. And at the end of it, I still don't know what I'm going to do. Yeah. So if people have come in, and this has happened, people come in on the taster day, so I quite like that. Yeah. So we've given that opportunity for people to come in at entry level. We try to ask them what are your interests, mm-hmm. and line them up into areas of the business that are very broad, that appeal to them, and they thrive. They really do thrive. The graduates come in with different skills. Mm-hmm. They focus in particular areas. They are older, so they've got the maturity there. Yeah. So it's a nice combination, really nice combination.
Well, and absolutely, and I think that was one of the findings of the report, mm-hmm. is that
it's a really good report.
Yeah, thank you. But the young people don't see insurance as a career that has got that purpose. And it's as somewhere that you can thrive and grow your career and really get to explore your passions. But we know that yes, everything you've described is very much about purpose and supporting the world. Mm-hmm. But also, you guys have got some incredible accounts, which, if you're passionate about sport, for example.
Well, sport, Premier League, yes. And we've just won Formula One as well, and that's global. Yes. We've also got some very large entertainment mm-hmm. Accounts. So for last year, or over the last 18 months, of the 5 largest tours globally, 4 of them were us. Wow. So that piece, yes, lots of people come in and say, oh, I'd like to do that. Mm-hmm. But actually, we've got lots of people who are really passionate about other things as well. Yeah. Geopolitics at the moment, who can't open a newspaper or turn on the TV and something's happening. Political risks, trade credit, they're so interwoven. So we've got people that really understand that, really passionate about that. Fine art. There is something that the people who work on our fine art team, they all love it. Yeah. Absolutely love it. But they need to, because the clients are just as passionate. Exactly. So there's that connection and the people piece. But it doesn't just have to be the pure insurance part as mm-hmm. well. Finance, graphics, marketing, design, engineering. There are roles for people that we don't often speak about, that they are just as passionate, and they make a really big contribution to helping clients get what they want.
And one of the other things that, the main focus of our report was about that the insurance has a perception problem What do you think is one of the biggest misperceptions that people have about insurance?
Okay, well, there's the key word, people. Ours is not just technical words. Yes, it's very important and detail is important, but it's about relationships and people. One of the great things about our industry and the sort of hidden gem secret is that it's all about people and relationships and getting things done. And if you like people, you're going to enjoy our industry because it's fun.
Absolutely.
People like spending time together. Real friendships grow up. But by getting people together, innovation, things spark. You can be very, very creative and help society. All the things we're talking about in terms of purpose.
Yeah.
And it all comes from that. But it is fun.
Yeah. It is a lot of fun. And I loved you when we were doing a little bit of prep. You said, in fact, Miller is owned by your clients. It's the business is.
This is year 123 years. But so coming back to the sort of the culture, it's very much a custodial responsibility, and it might be Miller name on the door, but it's the client's business, and we're always mindful of that, and that goes back to the core culture. So with that custodial approach. And thinking of the clients first, immediately you've got something that unites everyone.
Yes. Yeah, it's wonderful. And not only do you unite for the clients, but also from a social side. I mean, people always think
Ours is
about...
a very social industry.
Exactly.
It's a very social industry.
Exactly.
And we do encourage that.
Absolutely.
So sports social, but we've got things like connections, which actually came from these PDRs I mentioned, the personal development reviews. Yeah. One of our guys, this was 25 years ago, he said, how do I find out more about what we do? Right. That's a great question. Yeah. How do we? Go and figure it out. So he came back and said, right, I've spoken to my peer group and we want to start telling each other about it. So immediately we said, right, go. And it evolved in something we call connections. Right. Young professionals is just starting. And that is very much driven around how did you get into the industry? But not very senior people. Yeah. It's sort of middle, if you want, because it's so much easier to actually see a career progression to that point. So that is deliberately designed around that. But we bring in external speakers as well. And we have, on the learning and development side, we've got fast track, Miller management, so continual involvement and bringing people through. On the underwriter side, some of the underwriters do similar things. Right. So we join forces. Yeah. And beginning of 24, if we get back to the actual insurance industry, the insurance sector the rates started to come down after a 7-year period, pretty much. 2 years flat, 5 years of increasing rates, signs of actually this is going to change. Yeah. Well, that's a lot of people that have never been exposed to that.
Of course.
So one of the things that we did with one of the big carriers in London, we did a joint session and we invited all those people that were interested who never experienced a soft market.
Yeah. Wow,
so there's a lot of things that go on.
And I think that cross company integration and collaboration is critical really to dealing with the impending, I'm saying crisis, but in 10 years, they're saying that in America, there will be 400,000 vacancies. So, how else can the industry deal with it without collaborating with your competitors and partners?
Oh, completely. This is industry-wide.
Yeah.
You asked earlier about retention. To keep people through and all the way through their career, generations have changed. What people are seeking has changed. So I don't think it's any longer realistic to say people are going to have a job for life in one firm. Yeah. Some come back. In fact, we've got an increasing number of people coming back. But that's an aside. Yes, this is very much an industry issue. So let's work on it together. It is a C-suite issue. You reference some of the things I'm involved with. So the broker academy. So there's a Lloyd's one. There's a Council of Insurance Brokers one. WBN has Catalyst. Yeah. And all these things are designed to help people on the career path, but actually to see a career path and prepare them for the next steps. But reaching out earlier, my daughter's just she's 2 years now into the industry. We have heated debates about this at home. And in fact, because the council recognises it, so this is a topic for them. For those who aren't aware, the Council of Insurance Agents and Brokers, it's US based, but it represents, it's about $2 trillion of premium, the members. So, I mean, this is a really industry body. But it isn't just on the broking side, it's also on the underwriting side. Now, broking is, from a financial perspective, is one of the best performing sectors, period. It just outperforms almost everything over a long period of time. But who tells that story? And when do we tell that story? We don't tell it early enough, and we don't tell it clearly enough. So it's reaching out. London Market Group in London has various initiatives running, but they've actually been going into schools to begin to just begin to sort of, not heavy, but just saying, look, risk is out there. Insurance, almost ignore the label, but it's all about risk and managing risk and broking risk and buying a risk from somebody that's got risk capital and they want to rent the balance sheet. And somebody who, not many people wake up in the morning saying, I must buy more insurance. But they do want to manage their risk, because from risk comes commercial advantage. The better you can manage it, you can then focus on your business. Well, all we do as brokers, we're making sure that the two parties are getting what they require. So that's our skill. That is far easier and far, personally, I think it's much sexier, but it's much better to be talking about risk and the advantages it brings, the social benefits that we've already referenced, rather than insurance.
Absolutely.
It's just a label.
So, as a leader in insurance, what's your message to the market? What's the one thing that everyone could do now to help shift that perception of insurance as a career?
Well, hopefully it's sort of woven through what we've been talking about. It would be, we are storytellers. We represent our client. So client wants to transfer their risk. If you were the underwriter, I've got to come and tell that story to you about this client and differentiate the client. Why would you want to give your capacity to this client at that premium level? So we're all storytellers. Let's tell our story more clearly and earlier as people are coming through. So that would be it. Tell the story clearly, tell it earlier.
I love it. Thank you so much, John. That was incredibly interesting and really insightful. Really appreciate your time.
Right, always good to chat with you.
Thank you so much.
Always good. Thank you.